everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Housewives News Network. No commentary, just the stories. I am your host, Taylor J, and you can find me on social media. You can find that down at the bottom of the screen. Also, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, leave your thoughts. We have another special Girl Talk episode this week. I invited my friend, Kelli Taylor, to be with me, a fellow journalist. So, Kelli, tell the folks what you want them to know about you.
Okay. So as Taylor said, I will call myself a journalist. I think once a journalist, always a journalist. I'm not in the field at the moment, but once a journalist, always a journalist. I did local TV news, but I got my start in entertainment. So I worked out in LA, working the red carpets, doing a lot of really grind work out there, but it was so much fun. I talked to a lot of the housewives when I was on different red carpets back in the day. So this is fun. I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited to have you, and especially with your knowledge and your background, especially as we talk about some of the things that happened in this recent episode. So we're already about halfway through the season of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and so this was episode 9, and the title was "Better Late Than Ugly," which I live by. I thought it was so cute when Kenya said that, and it was so true. Like, I mean, we're not about to show up looking busted, right?
Okay, but I still want you to be on time or be close
Yes.
to being on time. That hour late, I couldn't hang with housewives because I'm telling you, the way that they are hours and hours late at a time, it would just bug me.
And then they don't care about it either. They're just like, especially, I remember Candy, it was one season, they were going somewhere. And she was like, yeah, I was hungry, so I stopped at Chick-fil-A. And everybody waiting on you. Like, come on now. And then Steve Harvey dropped this thing out the other day. It was like a clip going around saying that like the richest people are always late. And I'm like, why are you spreading that around, sir?
I thought they were on time and they woke up early.
That's what I see on like Forbes and stuff. So I'm like, Steve, what are you talking about?
I don't know. Well, look, you clearly can see where my level is because I'm on time. You give me 5 minutes, I might be a 5-minute grace period behind, but hours and hours, I would leave them. I could not.
Yeah, and especially when it's an event, but we'll get to that a little later. So there was a few things, interesting things going on in this episode. One of the first that carried on from the episode we saw before was Drew and her sister. And so her sister, Allison, is living with them right now. And they had a moment where Allison talked about her mental health struggles and how she had to go into like a mental health facility. But also on top of that, Drew talked about her sister's extensive background, that she worked for Johnny Carson Productions, that she wrote for television shows. Like she's really legit. And then it begs the question of, how did Ralph get in there? What were your thoughts?
So obviously we don't really know the answer to that. We know what they show us. But we do know that wasn't there some sort of jealousy between Ralph and the sister? So maybe that was his way of blocking the sister out. I mean, Drew said that she hadn't seen her in years. So I think what's her tagline? Something about gaslighting. So we know that he gaslights her. We know that they're obviously getting a divorce. So maybe part of that was just him being controlling and pushing her out because he didn't like whatever it was that she was doing. Now, I probably would have chosen my sister who had this long resume versus my husband, but you got to do what you got to do to keep the household going.
Yeah, I was going to say, like in my mind when she said that, I'm like, that must have been what she had to do to keep him happy. Of course, we don't know what the conversation was, but it's like when she started running down her resume, I'm like, like what happened here? And it was nice to see, I guess, that level of vulnerability from her sister because it felt real and authentic. Mm-hmm. The season, it's missing something.
Oh, yes.
I don't know. It's missing something. And a lot of people are like, dump it, let's recast, let's start over. I mean, what have you been thinking about it?
Okay, so I am going to be 100% honest with you. I really have not been a full-time fan of Atlanta for a couple years now. Portia kind of kept me hanging on after Phaedra left and after Nene left. Portia, she can carry the show on her own. She's so funny. She's so light. She's a breath of fresh air. But that is what kept me watching. Now I really don't have to watch. And I know I might get some flack for this, but at one point, Kenya was the villain, right? We know that. And for me, I just got tired of watching her be the villain and be mean to Portia and everyone else. And when Portia finally left, I know they leaned on Kenya to kind of pick up and keep going, but I was like, I'm okay. But I can say that Kenya has turned the corner with me. I think, of course, she's good TV, regardless if she's being the villain or if she's not being the villain. She is good TV. Kenya knows what she's doing. She has an acting background. So she definitely is going to put on a show. So I think this season, though, you still have Marlo playing the games that she played last season. I mean, I like Candy in the music industry, but she's not really giving much on the Housewives, for me at least. I know everybody else has their own opinions, but then the rest of the cast is like, you can take it or leave it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really invested in anybody else's lives. I'm not really checking their Instagrams or checking the blogs to see what's coming in about them. They really just are not giving me what I want to see when I'm watching a Housewives TV show.
Yeah. And to your point about Kenya, I wasn't really a fan of hers either for the same reasons. I thought that she was mean. I thought she was pretty, she would make me laugh and everything, but sometimes it just felt like a little overboard. But then I watched the first season of the Ultimate Girls Trip when they all went to, I think they went to like Turks and Caicos.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I saw a different side of her where it was like she was lighter. And I don't know if it's because she was around a different group of women.
Yeah.
But, she had a lighter air about her, but she still wasn't playing because, she like was telling Ramona what time it was.
Ramona.
Every chance she got. And like, it made me see her differently. But then I see moments, on the show, like when they went to Birmingham and she told Sonya, like, oh, you could just go home. I'm like, okay, like there's that Kenya again. So I kind of go back and forth with it. My friend, she put it in a very funny way. She said with a lot of these housewives, they have to grow on you like a rash. Like you're just like forced to kind of start to like them and receive them. I think the longer that it's there, the longer that you see them, it kind of they grow on you a little bit more.
Okay, but I want her to grow on me without the rash. That just sounds disgusting. But I mean, Kenya, like I said, I do like her now. I like this Kenya, and maybe it is the divorce. I mean, I would hate to say that a divorce is making you more likable, but maybe it is the divorce where she's gotten the baby that she wanted for so long. She's kind of accepted her past with her family. So I think she's just now in a place where she's really all about her and all about self-care. And I kind of get that a lot when I'm seeing her in the things that she does. I mean, Baby Brooklyn, she stole the show for that.
Her little outfit.
Yes.
It was so adorable. And so, I guess speaking about the cast, we saw the season 1 cast minus one person. Of course, Nene was not present for obvious reasons. But we had Kim Zolciak, Lisa Wu, Sheree, and Deshawn Snow. And when I saw the preview, I was excited because, I watched that season. It's the nostalgia of it. But then when they came together, it was just like, it's nothing there. The chemistry is lacking.
I think I got up and like went and got a drink at that point. I'm just like,
it was an intermission time.
Yes, it was not what it was supposed to be. They had all of the elements to make a good dinner. You know what I'm saying? They had all the recipe or all the pieces to the recipe, but it just fell flat. And I don't know, Lisa Wu, she was kind of on one, but maybe it was just I don't know. And then I saw people saying on Twitter how Deshawn, like they kind of edited her where she was just so quiet. And I really feel like Kim took over that conversation. I thought it was good to see Kim on TV because she's another one where you either like her or you don't. There's no in between with her. And I thought she just seemed, again, just lighter, and maybe it's because years have passed and they just have grown a little bit more. But you know, Nene needed to be there. But I think it's so funny that she says, you know, she'll come back for the fans. But we know she's not coming back for the fans. Like Bravo is not having her back. I don't think, because of this lawsuit, it just doesn't feel like they could still have her there and then also go forward with a lawsuit. I'm not an attorney, but that's just what, you know, we've been hearing out in the streets. So,
and I think the writing was on the wall when they did that episode a few weeks back where they did the flashback and she wasn't in the thing.
They cropped her out of the intro.
Yeah, and even on Watch What Happens Live, I think there was one, I forgot who was the guest that night, but Andy did like a top 5 like favorite Housewives moments or something, like one of his little top 5 things, and it's something that Nene should have been in.
Oh, she is the top 5.
You know, and she wasn't in it. So yeah. I believe that that's out. And I read in his book, his new book, and I'm actually going to read that on the plane when I go on my vacation, that he says in there that like the door is closed with her. So I think
closed the door first.
it's over.
She closed the door first. The door is closed. So
the door is closed. There, right? Which is so unfortunate. But and then he said like there was like an empty chair, like a 5th chair there. I guess that was supposed to like symbolize that somebody was missing.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that. But that's what I'm saying. The whole thing was such a snooze fest that I didn't even see that the chair was missing or the person was missing from the chair. I mean, it's good symbolism, but I don't think, I mean, somebody should have mentioned it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not at home thinking, oh my gosh, this chair is empty because Nene is not sitting there. I don't even think I noticed an empty chair. So if they wanted that to be symbolistic, that's not a word, is it?
We're gonna make it one today.
If they wanted it, symbolic. Yeah, symbolic. That's what I was trying to get at. If they wanted that to be symbolic, then they should have said something about it. That would have been a moment.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Kandi does her own little after show thing, Speak on It. And I watched that, and she said in there that they had invited her to come to that dinner, and she was like, it was no point in her being there because she's not an OG. She wasn't season 1. So either the seat was for Kandi or they just wanted to do that symbolism. I guess the world.
No, I mean, I agree with Kandi. It doesn't make sense for her to be there. She didn't start the show with them. Although, once I think back on it, she was in that first season, wasn't she?
She was on season 2.
So when they were at that event, Kandi had the short hair. That wasn't just her being in the first season.
No, yeah, we met her season 2.
Okay. I don't mean as a housewife, but I thought she can't, you know, ran through an event. You know, they have events and all these people in Atlanta are there. So she was at an event, but I could be thinking about something else.
I might have to go rewatch and see and get back to the people and let them know. But yeah, so they, you know, they played some flashbacks from the times when the ladies were on there. And Lisa Wu kind of did some prying with Kim. She's like, you know, I heard, you know, your house is, foreclosed on, and Kim denies it. But all the while, you know, we recently saw a lot of back and forth between her and her husband. They were saying that they were getting divorced, and then that they were in like all this debt because of Kim's gambling addiction and this and that. But then it just came out this week past that they're calling off the divorce. So now I'm wondering, is this Kim's way of trying to get back on Bravo, either in RHOA or, you know, they had their own show? Like, would you want to see her back on Bravo at all?
No. But that's just me. I don't know what the other people want. Like I said, Kim, she again is good TV, but I feel like when I watched her show, Don't Be Tardy, it was literally just her yelling at the kids. Like, that's all I get from her is her yelling at someone. She was yelling at Sweetie, then she's yelling at the kids, now she's yelling at Croy. Like, I need Kim to give us something else. But when we talk about these housewives and divorces, it could just be a saving face. because we saw Monique do it a couple months back. And then where are they now? They're in divorce, unfortunately. We see Kyle Richards going through it right now, saying that they're separated. And they both put out, her and Mo put out that Instagram statement saying, no, we're not going through divorce or separation. And now you have Kim doing the same thing. So sometimes I don't read a lot into that. And I just think they're just doing it because it's a PR stunt, really, to try and save face until they're ready to say, we're calling it quits. So I wouldn't read too much into that.
It's interesting because it's like, especially with like Monique and with Kyle, I don't know if Kim's came out in People Magazine, but these came out as People Magazine exclusives. So it's like, okay, then where are these exclusives coming from if the next day they turn around and say like, wait, hold up, like this is not what's actually happening. Because that happened, I know for sure, with both Monique and Kyle.
I saw something on Twitter, and we know what Twitter is, and anybody can tweet anything, but someone said something in regards to Kyle Richards, like, my mom is Kyle's best friend, and Kyle, she wasn't taking Ozempic. She was just very stressed because her and Mo were going through something. And I'm just like, how do we verify that your mom is friends with Kyle? Like, anybody can say anything. So I think when you're talking about a People Magazine exclusive or whomever, and we know, Taylor, from our own local journalism, anybody can tell us anything. It's up to you as the journalist, as the reporter, to then go and vet the story, make sure it's true before you put it out. Now, with the gossip magazines and People, I think toes the line, because they also do human interest stories, but then they also are heavy on the gossip, So I think if they think they have something, then they're going to go with it. So it just may be something that the sister's best friend's neighbor told you, that they saw somebody doing something, and that's how you frame it when you report it, a source close to the situation, just so that you're saving face. And it's not like, okay, well, where did this come from? So I don't know. I even think with People, you still have to take it with a grain of salt, because anybody can say anything.
It's true. The interesting thing about it, though, is that the person who writes these articles, these Housewives-based articles, his name is Dave Quinn. He wrote the Housewives book that came out a couple years ago, Not All Diamonds and Rosé, which, he had permission from Andy to write and things like that. So when I see that he's written something, I'm like, there actually might be something to it.
You're right. And there could be. And like I'm saying, I'm not calling that journalist a liar or anything like that. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is on the other hand, the flip side, Kyle and Monique and now Kim, they just have to find a way to save face. So if it means let's pull this back and let's say that we're trying to reconcile, then they'll do that, give it a couple months until they're ready to come out with the story and say, look here, I actually filed for divorce. You can go and see this, because it's open record at the courts.
Right.
So maybe he beat them to it. Maybe somebody did tell them, or a source close, again, is saying, hey, they're having these marital troubles. They're about to get divorced. He beat them to the punch, and they're like, no, I want to control my own narrative. We're staying together.
Yeah. And then it just makes it all look so silly in the end, especially with Monique and Chris, because, they were adamant, but then you would go and look at her social media, you weren't seeing him.
Yeah.
It was just her and the kids. So, I wish them well. Chris is slim. Okay. He is ready for a hot boy summer.
Getting his revenge body back. Chris is ready to go.
Oh my gosh. I'm saying, well, look at that. He is ready for the next chapter of his life.
Yeah.
And I guess speaking of the next chapter, so they put out the midseason trailer, and my first thoughts with it is that it looks like a lot of what I have seen before with this show, in terms of this storyline with Drew and how, she's supposedly messing with a woman. And then it kind of takes me back to, like the whole Bolo thing in a sense, and the dungeon and everything, just all the stuff that has happened through the years. Plus, Marlo has said something about, yeah, I got it on videotape. There's been several times that people have claimed to have recordings and nothing has been recorded. It seems like we're not getting anything different.
Very lackluster.
You know, I don't know.
We saw that trailer because if I think about when I'm thinking about the promotion before the season started, and that's kind of where I decide with Atlanta whether or not I'm watching, if the promotion looks good. And we saw a lot of this in the promotion with the whole going to, I forget where they're going on this vacation.
They're going to dang, because the girls,
but you know, the sound bath, like the little gong goes off, and then I think Sheree might be narrating it or something along those lines. And then we see some flashes of a fight here and flashes of a fight there. So I don't think it's anything new. For me, I will say the only new piece, and not that I hadn't already seen it on social media, but the new piece from Atlanta promoting the next part of the season is about Ty being involved with Drew. That's the only part. But
is it enough to pull you in?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I mean, I follow Ty on Instagram. I like her. I think she is another character that kind of brings that to the show. If you think about her on like, I haven't watched in so long, but what's that show? Love and Hip Hop.
Oh, because she was with Mimi, right?
She was with Mimi. Okay. Yeah. So if you think about it, I mean, she knows how to be on reality TV. She knows how to be a character. She knows how to play a part. So I don't know. Is that going to be enough for people to say, okay, I want to watch? And then, like you said, with the whole recording of it, if there were a recording, we would have already seen it. Mm-hmm. Nobody is holding on to this for X amount of months before the show comes out. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And especially because I don't know if you're a B. Scott fan, but like I love B. Scott, and B. Scott always knows everything that's happening on the Real Housewives episodes. Because like they had those connections. So like before the season even came out, like something was going on with B. Scott and Bravo, and B. Scott was just like throwing everything out that was going to be happening, and it's checking out. So I feel like if it was something, B. Scott may have gotten it.
Somebody would have had it. The world that we live in today, where everybody is putting something on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is that you use, Twitter, TikTok, it would have already been out, or some piece of it. So what is Marlo flashing her phone saying that she has a recording of? That's the only thing that's going to get people to keep watching, right? Mm-hmm. To say, okay, well, maybe she does. Maybe there is something. Let's see what Marlo has. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The rest of the receipts, I haven't been impressed by anybody's receipts on any of these TV shows. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
well, Monique and the Binder was good though. Those were good receipts. No?
Maybe I couldn't see it because of all the theatrics with the Binder. I don't know. Because I feel like if you got it, like you playing spades, just throw your cards down and be like, okay, that's it. But then the whole, I got a binder, you don't know what's in it. Like, just show me, please.
That is so funny. I remember, I think Wendy, she brought like a poster board, like of receipts once.
And they're all trying to one up somebody else. Who started the whole receipts? Was it Monique in the Binder?
I feel like that's when it like really became prevalent. But when I think back to it, I don't really know. I want to say props kind of started in general with Kenya and the whole showdown with Portia. And then I remember on Beverly Hills, Kim Richards brought the little bunny and gave it back to Lisa Rinna. But like receipts, I think it might have started there. Okay. I would say that's probably the moment that people remember the most. If receipts came before that, it outshadowed that.
And maybe because Monique was the most memorable receipt, that for some, it's like, okay, we saw what she did there. But I mean, nobody else has come up with the receipts. I'm thinking of one. Somebody wrote a letter to somebody's liver. Help me, Taylor.
Oh, girl, you talking about on Miami.
And Andy was even like,
you're talking about Adriana wrote it to Marisol. sliver. And it was, now that was funny because it was like, where is this going? And then it was
funny, but it's then once we figured out what it was just like, oh, that was an epic fail. Like if you like, that's what I'm saying. If you're not gonna play your receipts like you would play a game of spades, and you know what I'm talking about, Taylor, throw them down like that. I don't want to see it. Like softballing. Oh, I might know this. I might know that. I don't want to hear that. Like give it to me straight, and then let me decide. Okay, like that was good.
The girls are just trying to find a moment with the receipts. That's all that it's about.
That's what it is, trying to find a moment.
That's all.
And I don't think anybody's found it since Monique.
So has there been any moment at all this season that you have enjoyed so far? Or are you still waiting?
Okay, I'm still waiting. But I can say just off of this last episode, because again, you make me think back 9 episodes or 8 episodes ago, and I'm really not 100% invested. So after I watch it, I forget it because it hasn't really been that memorable. But I will say I did enjoy the Mommy Nation brunch where Kenya came and again stole the show, doing what she does best. I thought her being the auctioneer, I thought it was perfect. I thought, even when they were throwing shade at each other about, Kenya's like, that's 50,000 at this table, and she's like, well, I got 5. And Candy immediately, I got 5. And then Sheree and Marlo just kind of look at each other like, you want to split that 5?
Come on now, y'all. Come on. They be so weird with the donating. And I think they know better now that like, you better give your money or it will come up.
Yes. So I thought that was a good look for everybody involved. Everybody was there, on one accord for a good cause. I enjoyed Sonya's cause as well because she's helping mothers, single mothers, and we know there's a lot of struggle that they can go through, losing homes, losing jobs, not having enough food to put on the table. So I thought that was a good event to kind of raise money for that cause. And then I just enjoy, I like it when they all get along. Like I don't have to see them fighting every season. And I think that's why I fell off as an Atlanta watcher at some point too, because it was like every season and every scene they were fighting and they weren't really bringing anything else to the table.
I agree. And it is good when it's light. The brunch was fun to watch. Like you said, the banter, Kenya did a great job. So maybe when they go on this girls trip, it might get better. They're going to Portugal. That's where they're going.
And they're going for healing and self-care. Let's see how that works out.
They always try to do that. I'm like, do y'all know every time you say, yeah, we're going to sit down and we all just going to hash it out and we're going to do that. Y'all already know it's about to go to the left. Like it's not going to work out, but we'll see how the rest of the season goes. And hold out hope for the future, I guess.
Let's see. You can have me back and see if I change my mind at the end of this season.
Yes, we're going to continue the conversation. Well, Kelli, thank you for joining me today. This was so much fun. It was good hearing your perspective. And like I said, we'll see what happens. So do you have any social media that you want to share with the folks to follow you or anything?
All right. Well, let's see. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which I'm not very active on Twitter, but you can give me a follow. It's I am Kelli Taylor, and it's the letter I, letter A, letter M. Taylor will have it down at the bottom, I'm sure. Kelli with an I, Kelli. So yeah, give me a follow. I need to make a Finsta and also whatever they call a fake Twitter, because sometimes I'm like, should I be tweeting this from my work account? So yeah. That's why I'm not very active when it's talking about reality TV, but I do love a good reality TV show.
Awesome. Well, yes, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. My social media will be at the bottom. I think we have a few seconds left, so I don't want us to get cut off. I will see you guys next time.